Good afternoon and a huge warm welcome to Carnation Crafts. We are live in the Carnation Crafts studio and it is lovely to have your company. It's the last show. It's the last live show in Carnation Crafts studio for Floral Dawn. So this is it. It's the last chance saloon. Obviously it sold very, very fast. So there's not very many left to grab hold of. So this is kind of your last chance saloon. 240101, that's the Floral Dawn collection on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. Show price today of $89.99. That's an automatic price, no need to put in any discount codes. Your usual price will be $99.99 and that will go back up at some point, probably this week. After that, you'll have combined prices if you buy individuals, where it'll amount to $130.95, or you'll get your bundle for $99.99. Free UK P&P, always nice to know. We like some free P&P. There is also an additional set of dies for you today as well, which are truly, truly beautiful. You've seen us working through them with demo. If you haven't, and this is your first time here for this collection, or indeed here for Carnation, huge warm welcome. Lovely to have you here. Please do say hello so we can say hello back. The fine leaf card shapes are available on the Carnation Crafts website. For this, you're getting two full card shapes. They're large, large pieces of die. I'll just take the glare off for you. Absolutely stunning, right? So you get both of those card shapes and it's only $49.99. So 240107 for those. Show price of $49.99. $2.95 UK P&P if you're buying those individually. Now, I know most of you have bought that and the main bundle together, and probably your perfect papers too. That means your P&P is free, so you don't need to worry about that. Anything that goes over the £50 threshold will be free P&P for you with Carnation. As soon as you place your order, they will pick, pack and post them, so you'll get them as soon as you can. Lots of people already saying today that they only purchased them yesterday and they already have the dies in their hand, which is lovely to know. We like next day postage. That's always lovely. Not guaranteed, but Carnation will do as much as they can in their power to get them to you as soon as possible. In addition to the fine leaf card shapes and the main collection, which is Floral Dawn today, we do also have some perfect papers for you. The perfect papers are literally your perfect partner for everything that you make with Carnation. They're colour picked from the artwork that Carnation provides you for free, and that means that everything goes together. These perfect papers are beautiful as your mats and layers. They draw everything together. You'll find them on the Carnation Crafts website, 240108, with a show price of $14.99, $2.95 UK P&P. We obviously don't worry about the P&P if you're putting them in with the main collection, as that again will take you over the threshold. As a quick word to anybody who's buying from international waters, we can still ship to you, no problem. You can still buy direct from Carnation Crafts, so carnationcrafts.co.uk. Purchase as normal. Your shipping and handling will be as follows. If you're purchasing just the main collection on its own, you'll pay $4.95 postage and packaging, or shipping and handling as it is in the States. If you want to add in a pack of perfect papers, that's going to take your shipping and handling up to $14.95. And that just means everything is covered for you. It does only cover you for one pack of perfect papers, by the way. So it's just one pack and your bundle. That'll be $14.95 shipping and handling. But as always, those orders will be picked, packed and posted immediately, so you'll get them as soon as those ships or planes allow, so that'll get over to you as soon as possible. So Floral Dawn, what is it? Let's have a quick recap on what it is you're going to be getting in this collection, and then we'll see you at the other side. Gorgeous, isn't it? It's just really, really pretty. For those of you brand new to Carnation, you've maybe just tuned in, you've never been with us before. Hello, hello, hello. Why is Carnation different to any other die manufacturer? Well, they make all of their artwork in-house. We have a creative director called Nick and a team of artists underneath him. They all create the artwork for every single die collection that we bring out, and that means that the dies are unique. It means the artwork is unique and the attention to detail is completely different to what you would normally expect from a die. So if it's your first time buying Carnation, be prepared to be a little bit surprised about the amount of detail that you get. It can be quite sort of breathtaking when you see it because we're not used to it. But once you start crafting with it, it becomes something that we depend on and we love, and all of the elements come together. So it's a really nice place to be. And I think once you start working with Carnation, it's very difficult to work with other dies because we don't get that same quality. By that I mean that when the artwork is created, cut lines are introduced into the artwork. Those cut lines are lifted as such as a separate file. That becomes the die. So each line is created with purpose. That purpose allows us to shape it, to sculpt, to do all kinds of things to make them absolutely perfect. And if you don't wish to do any of that, the die will already appear to be perfect because those cut lines will separate out, for instance, if it's a flower, will separate out each petal. So they look extraordinary every single time, and that's why all of the Carnation cards are exquisite, including the ones you make yourselves. Let's have a look at Floral Dawn and see what you're getting, because these boards tell a glorious story of your future journey into crafting. We have got this gorgeous, gorgeous card shape here. It's the elegant foliage card shape. It's got a card base, it's got mats and layers, and then your foliage sitting on top. Added to that, you're going to get additional dies that are long line dies that allow you to place sentiments, create apertures, create layers, lots of different visual cues for you just within this one aspect. You'll also get this die here. It is one long stem die, but it does cut out two separate pieces. Those separate pieces have got score lines in them and little bobbly nobblies just here to create strength. So when folded over into a box shape, these two pieces are going to adhere and grip to give you all the strength you need to manipulate, because these pieces will become a 3D protrusion from your card, which will lay flat for postage. So we need that extra grip in order to make it strong and get through any postage samplings that we might have or any manipulation from the recipient. Absolutely stunning, isn't it? All those lines that we see coming through here, so already without doing anything, we've got incredible detail already working its way through our dies. We've then got your upstanding sentiments. These are stunning, absolutely beautiful, different. We like different in the craft industry. We've got love, we've got enjoy, we've got birthday, we've got celebrate, and we've got engaged. These have got these beautiful little round nodules on them. They can be used to have florals added to them. They can be used just as they are as a visual separation in your font, which is very, very pretty. Added to that, they've also got little cut lines in them. You can see them between each letter. The J is a really good example, that curvature line that goes round. It's there so that should we wish to, we can snip into it. It's got these little pit marks. Snip into it and separate the letters. So then you can create whichever way you want. There is no need to keep it as one full sentiment. You can separate out all the letters and we can play with those fonts in a lovely way. And actually mix and match, because it's often nice to mix. The actual font is the same, it's just in different sizes. And so sometimes to play with, say like you wanted to make, let's say you wanted to make the name, I don't know, Leon. So you've got your L here, we can use a smaller E, a larger O and a smaller N. So you would be able to bring that together to create individual words as well by mixing and matching those sizes. They are incredibly clever and they're going to be one of the most useful fonts I think we own. It's just got so much versatility to it. Then we've got our little Dawn friends here. We've got the bunny in 3 poses and the blue tit also in 3 poses. So the little bunny here is obviously sat waiting, and then we've got this one who's just super, super sweet, who is almost in that begging position, just very, very cute. And then we have also got this one here who looks like maybe he's been startled and he's curious, he's looking to see what's happened. Again, with the blue tit and with the rabbit, each of these give the recipient a visual cue. So where the eye line follows, obviously the recipient automatically follows in that eye line as well. It means we've got places to put our showstoppers that will make sense and that will bring the card together. So from the very beginning, we're already getting that helping hand. Each one of these has got its own matte layer, and that is important more so in this collection than any other, and that's because we've got that box mechanism in the first card shape that we showed you. And that box mechanism can be used behind these shapes to pull them forward in that 3D protrusion. So should you wish to have florals at the back and the rabbit standing forward, that's absolutely something we can achieve, and again it will fold flat for postage, so it gives us this really lovely different sense of visual. From there we have got your rising above, and this is a really glorious set of extras, and it's these boards that often become your best friend, the one that the most utilized. Your gorgeous love heart intertwining branches here, which is very, very pretty. Little bit of foliage there. If you don't want it all, you have got snip lines. You can cut away some of that foliage. You don't have to keep it exactly as it is. One of Carnation's outstanding points is their snippability. And by that we mean that you shape it the way you want it to. So you can get rid of elements, you can tuck extra elements in, you can do all kind of visual cues with the pieces we've got. So it may appear to be one single piece, but we've got snip lines across, we can reduce, we can make it larger, we can do so many different things just with one collection. So the wall is a prime example of being able to build up in height but also build across in length. So they're really, really useful set to have. Impact wise, visually, the next board is probably just, it's breathtaking, isn't it? When you see that and you go, that is exactly what I'm going to be getting in this collection, and it is extraordinary. So pretty, so versatile, and just breathtaking. Anything you make with these is going to have impact. It doesn't matter what you make with them. Those big, huge, beautiful bursts of florals, they're stunning. You have a corner element, which is super important for any cards that we make. You also have your visual straight line. We'll call it a long line floral as well. That can be used on the diagonal as you see it here, but it can be used vertically as well. So you get that really gorgeous sort of straight line going through. Add on top of those one of those white sentiments, it's going to absolutely pop. You get all your decoupage elements that are individual and can be used as independent pieces or as decoupage, and then you get your foliage as well, so we can create bigger blooms. Your small yellow roses that is dotted around here, excuse me, they can be used on those sentiments in the little round dots that we saw. Those can be built up to add in a floral distribution across your sentiment, so it just looks very finished, very clean and very well done, which we love. And that is your Floral Dawn collection. So you'll find that on the Carnation Crafts website, www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, and you'll find it under the number 240101, £89.99 today. That's your show price, but that is going to return to its original price of £99.99. So you do need to move fairly fast because it won't stay at that price for very long, as we know from previous Carnation collections. It does have an individual collective price attached to it that you'll see on your screen there, and that is £130.95. That's when you buy each individual die all together and put it as one collection. So you can see the value that you're getting there. You're getting an enormous reduction of, I think, 40 odd pounds, which is huge. Free UK P&P, of course. Excuse me. Now, we also have for you that extra die that we were talking about, which is just very pretty. It's your fine leaf card shape, and you're going to find that on the Carnation Craft website, 240107, £49.99, £2.95 UK P&P. And I've got the boards for you here, so you can have a look at what you're going to be getting when you get those home, because these are going to be a really strong player in your crafting game. Now, I know lots of you have added this in with your main collection, and we can see why. First of all, you've got your card base, then you've got your mats and layers, and that stunning foliage that's got that movement, that flow around it where it goes round. Now, you can create full floral wreaths from these, so all you would need to do is tuck florals through, going round, create some form of pattern, some visual pattern. That could be used with Christmas florals, summer florals, or any other florals that you have in your collections, and that will create a most stunning wreath. We can obviously then manipulate that to use half or a quarter to create a quarter wreath, and leave the rest obviously in white cardstock. It's just going to look extraordinary. Beautiful, beautiful dies. But we have also this shape, and this is all in one die, so you're getting a massive whack of metal for your money here. Card base and mats and layers as always, and then your filigree. with your insert layers here. So you've got your card base again if you want to make a miniature, and mats and layers, and then you've got this beautiful stem of filigree that you can see that can be used independently as a tuck-in, which is really, really useful, because yesterday I created a card where we had that as your base point, created that compositional V that we look for. You've got your tree line down at the bottom. We can put various woodland creatures either behind or in front. Remember, we've got that mechanism, so just to use that with an aperture in the center and one of those, maybe a rabbit on the box stand so it protrudes forward, with a couple of florals tucked behind, already visually you've got a very powerful card. And that is obviously the joy of Carnation, that we can work with very little and create something absolutely extraordinary. This is your fine leaf card shapes, 240107, a show price today of $49.99 to $95 UK. P&P. Did I do the things, Miss Taz? Do we still need to do perfect papers?
Yeah.
So perfect papers, for those of you who don't know Carnation, because Carnation create all the artwork in-house, so like I say, it's Nick and the creative team that do it. When they're painting their artwork, they bring with it some perfect papers, and they do that by using a colour picker. So they're basically taking a colour drop and they're using a colour picker to put down to be able to produce their perfect papers. So something, for instance, in the collection that has a pink colour to it, and that'll be one of the florals in this collection, that will be drawn out and that colour will be utilised in their papers, and they'll bring you a pale sample and then a much stronger sample, and so perfect papers become very, very important with your collections. It means we can't clash, and for those of us who aren't brilliant with colour theory, we have a holding hand here. You're going to get 48 sheets. You're going to get 6 colour variations, and you'll get 8 sheets of each, which takes you to 48. It's white on the back, and then it is colour toned on the front. It has a glossy finish to it. It is a cardstock and not a paper, so it is 300 GSM, and every time you are going to get the most perfect papers. The designs that they've got on them are, as far as the texture, the pattern should I say, are concerned, you'll get one that's dotty and one that's stripy, and then you'll also get one that's a block colour, and that's for each colour as such, and you've got the pale and then the darker there, so they work out either way, and they're just really, really beautiful. In this particular collection, you're going to get blues, you're going to get creams, and then you get kind of, it's like a turquoise almost, isn't it, Taz, with the pinks as well. It's a really beautiful shade line going through, so you can craft right across the board, and it doesn't matter which vignette you put on top of it. I like them apples because it means I can't go wrong. Colours can be a very funny thing when we're creating, either with art or with craft. One slight faux pas on colour can ruin a whole visual. So when we don't need to think about it, we already have a lot to think about with composition. So not having to worry about colour theory becomes a very important process for us as crafters, just makes life easier. We're going to show you a set of the DT samples, the ones that we didn't show you this morning, and then we are going to get to demo so you can see some of these processes taking place, and you can work out how to build your cards when you get this home. For those of you who have already got it, happy crafting. I hope you're crafting along, and we can have a chit chat about that. So looking at this from Vera Bow, which I think is an incredibly strong sample, and this shows you those perfect papers coming together and how it works. Now, when you look at the back layer here on your perfect paper, your first matte, and then you look at the darker shading in those yellows on the roses, you'll see where we're colour picking. You can see that tone coming out, and it's very strongly done, and it's done in such a beautiful way. And I love the way that Vera has broken up that colour with the stripe, so that pattern texture coming through visually allows that massive break. So this becomes very, very obvious on the foliage going around on your elegant foliage card shape. Oh no, this is, sorry, your fine leaf card shape. Then you've got your florals down at the bottom. So what we do here is base round a corner. We've used an aperture in the centre to create layered apertures. That's given us a little hideaway in the back of the card for something to sort of poke through, in this instance the rabbit. And we've also used that foliage that comes with your fine leaf card shape at the back, as well as your background cue. So you can see how the strength of that comes through with a simple sentiment at the bottom. So thank you, Vera, that's a really gorgeous sample. Another use here with Vera, this is with the extension boxes that we've got. And isn't it pretty? So use of pearlescent cardstock there, which is really, really gorgeous. What Vera's done, we've got pearlescent cardstock here, but she's also made the boxes behind from pearlescent cardstock. So as they sit, they've got a little glint and a sheen as they go up and down, which is really beautiful and really nice to have. And we'll see that then we've got your foliage and lots of florals. Nothing difficult there. That's using 2 of those long line florals, separating it with the sentiment in the middle, and this obviously then folding flat for when we want to post it. I just think it's really gorgeous. Those bright pinks coming through, they make such a crazy difference, don't they? Perfect papers are always going to be something that assists us in the process of card making. If you want to square that off with something that's a little bit more clean and simple, we can work with those florals as corner elements, seating that birthday on the top of that so it gives us that nice beautiful impact. This is one of Lavinia's and it is absolutely stunning. And actually just using the perfect papers to cut out your sentiments is very powerful as well, because we pair it back with the mats and layers at the back, and that just gives us that push and that visual cue to look at the most important piece here, which is the sentiment at the front. And we obviously are basing that out. Now a similar example, but something I wanted to show you where we're not using the boxes, is this. I love this sample. I love the toned down blue at the back, and I love the fact that it's quite a clean card. Now it does have some decoupage elements on it. You can see that coming through. So you get that build up. This is Barbara Treadwell. So a massive thank you to the D team. What happens here, where you've got the texture at the back with the pattern, the visual texture, should I say, you've got the pattern flowing. What happens is it's making the cut lines on the foliage pop. Can you see them? Because we've got the white on top of the stripe. So the white here is making those cut lines really, really pop. So that embossing detail becomes really important and it draws everything into that center point. So that beautiful sentiment in white and then that gorgeous floral behind it. These are not tricky cards. Visually, they're incredibly striking, but they're not difficult cards to make. And actually some of these are, not to be rude to the DT, are simple, very simple design makes. Beautiful little easel here where you've got that wool that's been utilised as a long line. So this is just building up the structure. One wall after another, changing height so that we've got a different visual impact. And that creates that stunning little wall, add in some little birds, and then the floral pieces there. And I love the way the sentiment has been cut up. So where we were saying about those pip lines on your sentiments, which are really important, they allow that snippability. I think that's shown off best there. I think it really does highlight how we can use it. The little roses for added detail, which make it almost look like a wallpaper. And then those gorgeous little rabbits saying hello. And they're so sweet. And I love the fact that we can utilise the 3 of them together to create a story. I think one of the demos that I have today, oh no, I was going to use the one with the 3 rabbits, but that's not the one I've got out. But that is just super, super sweet. So really gorgeous eyeline, isn't it? So the things that we see visually. Now I'm just going to place these over here and I'll bring you some more in before we get to demo. So using your DLs, I love DL cards. I'm never going to not love DLs. This is using the Carnation Crafts crystalline die. Actually, it might be the shabbies, you know. I think the crystallines are a little bit more, I don't know. I will go with one of them. It's either the shabbies or the crystalline, but it's very, very beautiful. And then that sentiment up on that box. So the difference when we actually protrude that, look at that. How these fade off into the background. So even on a plain DL, we're getting the impact, aren't we? And that to me looks like something that's been, I don't know, that it's like a Victoriana piece of art. It's absolutely stunning. But it's made modern with the sentiment. So we're not getting lost in this kind of feeling of retro art. We're getting pulled forward with it. And I love it. I'm so smitten with it. Again, DL, but this time very clean lines. Look at the difference between the two. And I'll be totally honest, if I saw those 2 cards next to each other, I would never, other than the sentiment, I would never consider that they were from the same collection. It wouldn't occur to me that they were from the same collection. They're such different card making. And that's down to the unique style of the crafter and the artist that makes the cards, and that's you at home. So it's always nice to know that your cards will be different from the next person's. Obviously you get similarities going across, but very, very, you know, rare that you see exactly the same card made twice. Janine Dawson here. Look at this, it's so cute. Isn't that gorgeous? utilising the pieces from Rising above here. So we've got both the walls and we've also got that heart-shaped intertwining, and then we're using the decoupage elements from the Burst of Blooms. So you've got everything going at once. Really pretty, but it's still clean. It's still a very clean card. If you want to bring in some of your mirror cards, we can start changing things up visually. Same birds, but now we have a completely different card again. And you've got that gorgeous kind of aesthetic coming through, haven't you? That lovely, lovely rise where you see all of your corner elements coming up. I'm very keen on building up on one side, but reflecting it with something else on the other. So that just works on a balance, doesn't it? It utilises white space, but it doesn't eat white space. Very, very, very impactful. If you'd like to go for something more traditional, that's still available to you with this collection, of course. Look at that. That's sweet. Remember, your backing papers are free on the Carnation Crafts website as well. So you're never left with nothing. You've always got what you need. We're going to bring in, again, simple lines. Teardrop and sweep, nested dies for this one. This is backed to your elegant foliage, and it's just so pretty. Exquisite card making every time. And we see this all the time with the DT team, don't we? That we always have exquisite card making, and they never fail to let us down, but it's easy with Carnation. I love that. That's Sue Dalrymple. So we're always, you know, to-ing and fro-in. Using your perfect papers instead of white backgrounds will change your impact. That gives you that colour pop, that nice burst. Changing it out. So instead of your sentiment, we bring in your corner element that is your protruding point. So you're getting the dimension, which is what we're looking for, and it's only the box placed underneath, not tricky. But you get that gorgeous 3D shaping, don't you? We're nearly through them. And then here, using those florals as your card shape. Isn't that impactful? Hey. So you've got the little floral as your card shape, and then using that sentiment. Isn't that so beautiful? Impact, impact, impact every single time. You can't make bad cards with Carnation. This here from Pam Simpson. Same idea. We're taking those sentiments off the edge of the card. I love that, where it's been cut into thirds, hasn't it? And what that allows us to do is keep a clean white background here. We keep that clean, that white space. We keep the one above it with the rabbit here, sorry. We keep that clean as well, but we do have some information on it. And then this one is where our eye sort of draws down that engaged. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I love this one as well. This is Pam's as well. Gorgeous card making. Teardrop and sweep again on your card base, if anybody's wondering. That's one of Carnation's nested dies. It's just beautiful. It's very, very classy, very elegant, as with everything Carnation. And that's the final one. Well, I'll show you one more actually, and then we're done. Pretty. I love their innovation. I love the fact that Carnation think about these things. And we've had the scissor lift, haven't we, where things pull forward, but this one has more dimension, and it's designed for these florals to just absolutely push forward, be your showstopper. Beautiful engineering. And then something that's traditional. This is Janine's. That was Lavinia's. Thank you, Lavinia. This is Janine's. Very traditional card making. Same collection. And you just wouldn't think it because they're so different. Each card is so different. Look at your colour values, look at your tonal shift. Gold mirrored by the yellow, and then the blue of the blue tip with your sentiment there. Really clean, really easy. Perfect paper. Remember your stripes. Look at that coming through. Just those little peaks. Really, really beautiful card making. So that is your DT samples for Floral Dawn, and I believe we have covered pretty much the majority of the ones we had here. Miss Taz, I'm about to destroy the studio. Just like that. And I've got one attached to my bracelet. Normal service can resume. Right, let's have a look at a bit of a demo for you so that you can see what you're getting into. However, I will say, first of all, if you go over to our YouTube channel, which is Carnation Crafts TV, you can hit subscribe and you can hit notification. There's no charge for subscribing. It helps Carnation, it helps the reach go further, but more importantly, it keeps you notified of when we're going live. The reason then that subscribing is important is because it allows you to go back at any given time and watch the shows back again without having to constantly keep searching, because you're subscribed to the channel. So you're like essentially like a YouTube club member almost. So once you've got that and you've hit subscribe and you've done all that, you can always go back. We don't remove shows from the Carnation YouTube channel, so everything we've done from the beginning of the studio here is sitting there waiting to be watched. Any demos that you need, any information that you need about Carnation, you will find on that YouTube channel. So you get all of that. So the reason I'm saying that is, I know lots of you sit with this in your basket and you wait until the demos are finished. We're running out of stock. So what I will say is you can come back and watch these shows. Please don't wait for me. Never wait for me. I'm not the fastest person in history. So obviously my advice is don't miss out, because obviously once we sell out, there is no extras at this point until we go to Hobby Maker. I know some of you very much like to buy from Carnation, and if that is the case, now's the time to go. Right, let's sort you out with a demo. I'm just going to put these here. Miss Taz always says it sounds like I'm eating a packet of crisps when I'm doing this.
Can't see you, like yesterday when you were with Dave, it sounded like you were eating crisps in the corner.
Who says I'm not? Right, 2 card shapes. Somebody was asking in the last show to remind them how to do the card bases. I know that Mark has often said to me in the past, you don't know what you forget you didn't know. And that's very true. So there are times when I will do things on demos where I forget that I didn't know that at one point. And so sometimes I do things without explaining. So if you ever want me to explain anything, please do ask. So for card bases, for those of you brand new to card making, we take the largest die in the pack. So where I've got, oh, I don't think I can reach it, where you've got your elegant foliage card shape. Let me just try and lean. Here we go. Where you've got this, in order to create a card base that's made from the card shape, you've got a large die in this pack, and it's the largest one you'll see. There isn't a bigger one. So it's the outside die here. Now I'm going to turn the metal around. Actually, I'll open it. Let's do this. Where you've got this, you'll see you've got a set of metal dies. They're nested. So 3 nested inside each other, then you get the foliage. In order to create your card base, you're going to take the largest die and you're going to cut that one twice. That's going to be your card base. Once you've done that, you might like to take a perfect paper and cut it with the middle die, and that will be your first mat. Then you'll take the third one, and that will be called the layer. And that'll be in a different contrasting cardstock. Then your foliage, this piece, will all be cut from the cardstock of your choice. For me, for this collection, I advise blush papers. You might like to use mirror card, you might like to use vellum, it doesn't matter. But that's how your stepping guide is. It's like a hierarchy of dies, and that's a really good way of thinking it. The biggest one is your card base, your foundation. So I'm going to cut that twice, which I've done here, and you simply put the die onto some card stock. I advise 350 GSM for Carnation because it's just got that little bit of extra strength. And then you've got a single line scored across about 1/2 inch and some red liner tape. Now you can see these two sitting here, and there's a difference between the edges. You can really clearly see it, can't you? So where this is, you can see it's got a lip just going around it. It looks like a lip, and that lip is because that is upside down. The die, when it compresses onto your piece, that is going to give you a difference. So when it's upside down, like it is here, the lip's curving upwards, but on the other side, it embosses it really beautifully. And that's the quality of the Carnation dies. So you can see the difference here. This one being upside down, that's your lip. But that's what is embossed on the other side, and you can see it here going around. Absolutely delicious, isn't it? Really gorgeous curvature there. And so you always want to make sure this side is the visual side that the recipient is going to see. So I'm going to take that, remove it, push that down, and then I've got this piece, and I need to make sure that this is my front piece. Now I do apologise, that's been on my mat now and it's got some glue picked up, but I'm going to cover it. I can shuffle those together. This being towards my body means it's not going to get stuck by accident. Place that down and push, and that is my card base. So you don't have to worry about card bases, they're taken care for you. When I first ever started working with Carnation Crafts and I first started making cards, I didn't know how to make a card base, and as a point of fact, I didn't know what a mat and layer was. I'd never heard of it. Well, actually, I'd heard people say about it in the studio, but I didn't know what it was. And I thought it was way more technical than it was. It's actually just a piece of cardstock cut with a die. You know when you know, right? But you don't know what you don't know. Now I'm going to go in with the perfect papers, and I've chosen the blue ones here. Aren't they pretty? Now it'll appear a bit whizzy on your screen, and that's because it's striped, but I am going to cover it up in a second. So tabs halfway down, this yellow line, that will give you some slip and slide to get it into place. You're in control because your tabs are coming out the end of the card, so we can use them as a grabbing point from the front. Push and pull, and that gives me my placement. Now I'm going to call those tones, that whizzy. Look at that. Now, because Carnation have got really, and it does make a difference, really good quality dies, that embossing point that happens on the edge of the die, which pushes it down and it gives us that little rounded edge. When we use something like this and we're putting white on top of a coloured cardstock, that's when it really comes to life. You can see it, can't you? It's like a soft edge. And again, not all dies are equal, so you don't always get that embossing point. Certainly with Carnation you will, but it's not always guaranteed. Placing this here. Look how pretty that is. Already that shape, just, I'm smitten with it already. Now I've got this sitting here, and I did that in the blue blush, and that's just to bring out those cool tones. But isn't it pretty? It is in stark contrast to the white cardstock, the blues. It all comes together, and that's partly to do with the fact that I've lifted it on a 3mm foam tape, which has given me some shadows, and shadows are free and I love them, and we can play in many ways. Now when you're playing with these elements, if I've got, I'm just going to take one floral just to show you. What I can do with these, I would do it with more than one floral, obviously, but if I wanted to place that in a corner and place that above, you can start to see that the design changes compared to me doing the same thing with that below. So already, two different ways of making this card. I've only started with one floral and foliage, so two different ways already. I can build up or I can build behind. It's entirely up to me how I choose to sculpt and play. For the sake of this demo, I'll be working on top of the foliage, so I can stick this down now. For me personally, when I'm trying to stick something that is on the horizontal, I find it easiest to put my card on the horizontal as well. I find it really difficult to do it vertically. I don't know if that's just my brain though, so you guys might not have that issue. Place down, look at that shadow. Isn't that beautiful? I love shadows so much. So making sure then that you've always turned your card around to make sure that you haven't done it upside down, which I've done many times. I'm going to start working in those corners. So I'm bringing in some florals and I'm going to very delicately shape them out. The longer time that you spend with this, the greater the impact it will be. I want them to cup upwards in this sense. My biggest point for cupping upwards means that I need to focus on my center point, but I'm going to start by the outside edge and I'm just going to work round. I'm not going to worry too much about that center point just yet. So I'm just working round. Now I can go in with a smaller ball tool and I can just go into that center piece, and that's going to give me that lovely cupping out that I'm looking for. That is just so pretty. Now I'll be quick with the rest of them because we don't have huge swathes of time. And just piece in. I'm always going to shape mine the same way. I'm going to work corner to corner on this piece. So my pieces are going to very much look inwards and draw the eye towards the sentiment that I'm going to put on at the end. What I'm going to make sure I do is do not stick them over that line, because that's going to get in the way of the sentiment I want to put down. If you do want to do that, make sure you only shape out certain parts of it so you can keep the rest of it flat. I don't want to do that. I do want it to sit and be bold. A little bit of pin flower. I'm not bothered about too much height. I've shaped it and that's going to give me the height that I need. Of course, use foam tape if you prefer. And if you've got any questions, you are more than welcome to ask. And I will try and answer as best I can. Right, smaller ball tool this time because we're working on a smaller surface area. I'm not trying to dig to Australia. I'm just very gently, about the same pressure I would use to write with a pen, just going around on the outside there. And that creates that lovely cupping edge. Little cracks as those fibres break, which are super, super lovely to hear. Now I'm going to bring in some yellows here. And I've got options. These little petals can be used on the sentiment, so I won't glue them down straight away. I will show you the variants. But I do want them for my corners. I'm going to keep my sentiment nice and clean. And then I've just got a little bit of foliage. And I'm going to shape those out. Now for each leaf I would shape them individually. So I would take a small ball tool, follow Nick's lines, and that will create just a little bit of oomph. You can see how they start to take shape and they're just very, very pretty, aren't they? Now, I don't want to work in symmetry too much on these. I will work symmetrically on the corners, but I don't want to ruin my sideline here. So if I was to take two of these florals and work here and here, I'm going to ruin my point where my sentiment can sit proud. So although I will be working as a reflection, I will be working the opposite way, and they will still be, they'll still have like a visual reflection as such. But it won't be an exact symmetry like, you know, I love my symmetry. And I just think it's visually very pleasing. But what I'm going to do is turn this so that I miss that line. And I'm just going to fill in with some of these florals. And I'm going to depend on those florals to kick forward this. So where that cupping out was there, it's going to kick this one forward. And that's going to give me even more depth and even more shaping. Then I'm going to change to this. Now I'm not going to put the yellow florals in yet because I want to show you them as they sit very, very proudly on the sentiment, and then I will move them to my elements. So just seat this one, allow that kick to lift this side, up. Staying away from that central line. And I've got some foliage here and I'm just going to tuck these in. I'll need wet glue for the foliage because as much as I can steal from the pin flat, I do need to make sure it's secured. But I'm not going to use much. As always with Carnation, that's always going to be unnecessary. The glue is very low water content. You do not need much. So building up that visual. I'm breaking up that colour with that foliage. Okay, so we've got this very pretty, very standout. And you don't need to do a huge amount here because that foliage is going to work for me. That foliage is doing a massive job visually, so I'm okay with that. And actually it's a very pretty card just like that. I'm going to stick this down straight and flat. I'm not going to worry about height. I'm okay with it being flat and with my florals taking centre stage this time. I know that as we've gone along, we've worked with that, the box shape, which allows it to protrude forward. But in this instance, I'm going to be okay just with a flat edge. Making sure that that is central, both vertically and horizontally. And then I've got my sentiment piece here in white. This is going to break up my colours. Just cool those tones down. I've got those lovely white dots that I can use on letters that have a more delicate edge like your E's. I'm just going to add a tiny amount of wet glue there just to make sure I can stick it straight. And follow those lines there. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, these buds, there's smaller ones as well, so you can utilise either depending where you want to be. I'm going to break these down, make sure they're very curved. I can choose little points for those to fill in. Aren't they sweet? Put those two together but opposing angles. And you see how they come in together? They're so sweet with that word behind it. Still very clear, but just very, very beautiful. I'm actually going to use the yellows just to break up the colours in my florals here. So I'm not worried about the yellows being there, but I do love them very, very much. And I did want to show you how they'll break up because I don't think I've done a demo with that yet. So I'm just going to break up some colour. So I'll just pop these in here. That'll just give me a little bit of oomph in my colourway. Now that I've got the sentiment down though, I am more than happy to come in and tuck up because I can see where my edges are. So I don't mind a slight protrusion now, that's okay. Just visually. And I should have one more yellow, there it is. Easy, beautiful cards. Engaged. Gorgeous, right? Absolutely stunning. That's Carnation. It's easy with Carnation to create, you know, insane cards, beautiful cards, gobsmacking cards. It's why we use Carnation, it's why we stick with Carnation, and it's because of the impact that we get from it, because it's never complex, it's never difficult, but man alive do they pop. If you want to know where to get your free artwork, you need to go to the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. There's a banner menu at the top, and one of the options is downloads. You click that and go to free downloads, and a list of PDFs will appear. On the right hand side, there is a little drop down box that says collections. This one is Floral Dawn. If this is a year down the line and you're looking for this collection, you'll need to scroll through that list, but the PDFs will still remain on the Carnation Crafts website. You'll get free insert papers, free backing papers, and just there at the bottom you'll see Carnation Crafts Floral Dawn original colourway. Pop that into your basket as well, create an account so that it remembers what you've downloaded in the past, and then they will download to your computer. From there we're simply printing them out on Best Bet Pro Print. 120 is going to be your best friend for that. Once you've printed them out, and you're simply going to die cut them in the way that we have done them in previous shows. For those of you who don't know that process, I'll show you it now, just quickly with a rabbit, and then we will hopefully get one more demo in. Where are we, Miss Towers? Do you think we'll have time for one more?
You will have about 7 minutes.
Ooh.
Specifically.
240101 for your Floral Dawn collection. I feel like I'm in a race now, Miss Taz.
You are.
I've never won a race. When I was very little, I had to do a race at primary school under a tarpaulin. You had to crawl under a tarpaulin, and I fell asleep under the tarpaulin. So there was just a little lump in the middle of it. I was built for comfort, not speed. Right, let's pop our little bunny rabbit on here. So I've spray glued that together. Now I've got my little bunny rabbit sitting there. Now I don't have there's my cut tidy. I will use cut tidy because it does give me the extra shim. It's just a sandwich that we put in. It means that my dye never needs to go near my paper, so I don't need to worry about whether or not, I'm just going to put him here so you can see. I don't need to worry about weeding out my dyes because honestly I don't have the patience, and I don't want to. If you're in a habit of smacking your dyes against a table to get rid of the little bits that you need to weed, have a go with Cut Tidy instead. It's much cheaper to buy Cut Tidy than it is to buy new. This is the bane of my life, this wire. It's much cheaper to buy Cut Tidy than it is to buy a new set of dyes. And when you tap them against the table, you can really damage the metal. So it's not something that I am a proponent of. I know lots of people do it, but you should avoid it where you can. If you do have to tap it, don't tap it on the line side, tap it on the flat side. I also find using and I like the brushes that you get as well. I use one of these quite a lot and that helps. But when you're working with very fine filigree, it can take a long time to do that process. Cut Tidy kind of takes that away because my dye never touched the paper. So my dye is absolutely clean from beginning to end. Just a simple extra shim, and I've got a perfect cut. Added to that, the Cut Tidy is giving me an extra compression. So the cut line detail coming out of these is absolutely extraordinary. And it does help with Cut Tidy. I got to tell you, the difference does make a difference. But you can see him there with all of that beautiful line detail that seats. So you're getting all of this shaping out ability, because I can literally put a pokey tool through his tummy and I can shape him out in any which one I want. If you don't have pokey tools, ball tools, the great thing is where the cut lines go around his hip here, I can move them and manipulate them with my hand. So you do have options even without using a ball tool, because that's what the cut lines do. It's incredible, but also he's double-sided because I used a mirrored vignette. So I've got the image on both the back of him and on the front of him, which gives me double the capabilities, which we like. Now we're going to look at one more card. That's it, Ben. We'll look at one more card and then I'm going to let you go. I think we've got time. I used a very complicated one, Miss Taz, because I'm just going to keep going. Right, it's not that complicated. I'll go fast. So, same as before. You what, sorry? Just got a lot on it. I'll cut it back. It's fine. So, with your circle ones, this is really important that you push that back and make sure you get it to where it is exact. Now, just keep rotating until you find the spot where it's exact, because if you don't, it won't match. Once you've got that spot, then concentrate on that back piece. So I'm just going to hold it together and pull that forward, and that's going to create my card shape. If you don't do that and it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, it might look a bit queer from the front. So we're just going to make sure that it's lined up there, and that'll just make life easier. Now I will go fast on this one because Miss Taz is giving me the eye. So I'll put that base there. Make sure I line it straight away there. $3.50 on top. Beautiful for stamping on. If any of you are stampers and you love to stamp, get your $3.50 smooth cardstock. It's a dream. Right, and then wet glue for my, look at that. It's just exquisite. Tiny amounts of glue going around so we get that lovely build. You can glue the whole thing, that's entirely your choice. I don't like to glue the whole of it. I like some freedom where those leaves lift and it gives me a little bit of shadow play. I can't shadow play the whole lot, but I can shadow play some of it, and I'm certainly going to take advantage of that. So I'm just going to bring that round, make sure I click my adhesion points or hit my adhesion points. Okay, so you've got that really beautiful line going. Right, now I've got this piece here. I can use this as a straight across piece, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take it off the edge of the card. But if you didn't want to do that, you can, of course, use it as a belt or a band across the center of a circular one. You can also use the corner element in a different way as well by basing it out. But I love it just off the edge because I think visually that's really strong. It's very, very pretty. Now, normally I would shape all this out, but we are running out of time, so I'm not going to go to that length. So I am just going to put some wet glue or some silicone gel glue on here, build up a little bit of height. I don't want to go to the smaller flowers, and I don't want to work on the edge because what I don't want to do is have it splodging here. So we're just going to put it down, making sure that the bottom line isn't in any way compromised because it's got to stand up. So I don't want these florals hanging over the very edge. So we're just going to make sure we ground that one out. The rest is fine. I'm okay with that. Now, all I'm going to do here, we're going to go quick and simple, she says. And I will, I promise, be quick. Round. Take more time at home. Build that up. And decoupage that out. So I've taken care of height and I've taken care of dimension down at the bottom. Now, in order to create the most from this, I'm going to add in some ducks. I would normally shape these. I'll just decoupage them for now. Not decoupage them. Give them some height for now. Aren't they pretty? I love how innocent their little faces are. They're so beautiful. Ground him out on a flower so he's not floating. And you've got that really lovely impact. Now, very, very quickly, or as quick as I possibly can, take your pokey and lift. You know, I didn't put glue on all of them. Okay, I'm going to find my gaps. Base in. And around. And I'm just going to create a little canopy going around. Now I could probably use a floral in the center of that if I so chose. Don't necessarily need to, but I'm just going to keep building that wreath. Once you've took the first two in, it doesn't matter about the rest, you can stick them flat because they're hidden by the ones in front of it. So we're not worried about that. You could add in some little yellow buds going through to add a different visual cue. I quite like it just in the green, I'll be honest, because I've got so much impact at the bottom. So I just want to build out this canopy. It's like a festoon of leaves. There, and just working through. And just build that wreath. They're just beautiful, these leaves. Really, I love working with foliage because I think once we get that fullness going through, a really nice impact on it. Keep working your way around. I won't do too much because I know we're running out of all of the time. But what I will say is, Floral Dawn, last chance here, 240101. You'll find it on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. Today is the last time we'll be doing it live in the Carnation Crafts studio. The next time you'll be able to see this is on Friday on Hobby Maker. I'm not actually sure of my times on Hobby Maker, Miss Taz. Now you're a step ahead of me. 1, 3 and 5. You'll find us back here. Well, you won't find me, but you will find Dawn Wheeler and Miss Taz in here, Full Clean and Simple, the brand new one from Florals. That's on at 10 and 12 on Monday, so don't forget to join us there. Please remember to look at your Carnation calendar on the Carnation Crafts website to get all the information that you need for upcoming shows. But Floral Dawn you'll find today, which is always lovely. And that's on 240101, and you'll find it for $89.99. Now, I've done that as I've done it. I think I would be happier if I had another floral for that central piece. And what I'm going to do, just to show you what I mean, is steal this one that I've used on decoupage. I'm not going to keep it there permanently, but just to show you how you can make that almost a ribbon. It tells a story, doesn't it? Suddenly we become like a biscuit tin storytelling. So it's a different way of using it, as opposed to it just being that straight aesthetic. We're sort of telling the story. Now, I don't want it to sit there. I do want those little birds to just be kind of hidden, but maybe that would be a potential for you going forward, is just to add a floral into that central spot, just to give it a little bit of more oomph. Just super pretty cards. So Floral, we come to the end. I hate coming to the end of launches in the studio because it always feels lovely to have your company. It feels really great to have the army together and to sit here and do these shows, but an end must happen, and this is it. So 240101 on the Carnation Crafts website, www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. $89.99 today. It will go up to $99.99, I think probably at the end of the week. You're going to have a combined price of individual dies £130.95, so you are saving £40 today, which is a whacking great big saving. You won't be able to save that forever. Pretty much if you want it from Carnation Direct, now's the time to do it. I will see you on Friday at Hobby Maker for the Floral Dawn there. That's 1, 3 and 5. Until then, take really good care of yourselves, be lovely to yourselves, happy crafting, and I hope these arrive soon.